So if you haven't heard already, Gayle King recently was featured on Sports Illustrated. And while it naturally got a lot of feedback, before I get into it, I want to read this one comment. It says, okay, while she looks great for almost 70, most of us can only pray we're looking this great at her age. There is something to be said about letting yourself be vulnerable enough to step in front of a camera for the world to see, especially her age group. Most of us are mothers, have busy careers, caregivers to our elderly parents. We're constantly busy. So to step outside your box and to do a whole bathing suit photo shoot is a beautiful thing. How many women you know at 70 looking this great? I work at a hospital, so I see many looking old in a wheelchair, on a cane, wrinkled body, etc. And not to say that's bad, but if you're still looking like this at 69, you're definitely blessed. So quit with all the hating and just compliment this Black woman on looking fabulous. And so, to be clear, I am not here to sit here and police and judge the body of a 70-year-old Black woman. Like, that's just not what I'm going to do. Good for her in taking care of her body. I do think she looks great for 70. But my issue really isn't with Gayle King as much as it is how this shoot, in my opinion, opens up a much larger conversation about how we approach women, how we approach femininity, and just overall values that are continuing to be pushed in the West. Let's just start off with women. I think in general, women in the West are incredibly infantilized. And what I mean is there is this obsession with youth. Okay, there's this obsession with youth that I think is just, quite frankly, strange and really unhealthy. Because why is it that the way that women are presented in their 20s, in their 30s, even 40s, whatever, like, why is it that the way media treats those women is identical to the way that they're treating women in their 70s? I take issue with that. I'm not saying that women can't feel good in their body at 70. They can feel sexy in their body. But I take issue with the fact that there seems to be no distinction between how women are portrayed in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Like this whole theme of, oh, I still got it at my 60s and my 70s. It's like, okay, that's great, but like, is that all you have to bring to the table? Because look, the world expects when you're young for you to look cute and pretty and things are going to be tight. That's what everybody expects. But as you age and mature, hopefully you have more value. Like you mature, you have more to offer yourself, the people around you, the community. It's like you grow and mature as a woman, and it's not just about how you look, but it's about what you are bringing to the table internally, the different qualities that you can offer, the wisdom that you can bring to the people around you, how you can help and build and impact the community for good. But it seems like all everybody ever cares about is how women look. And I think that is incredibly childish, to be quite frank, because, like, again, of course, we're going to expect a young, beautiful woman to be young and beautiful. Great. But as she matures and ages, those looks are going to fade. But there are other aspects that make a woman beautiful, not just her looks. But it just seems like in the society, all we can focus on is how good a person looks, which is why they're pushing this idea that, like, oh, you know, she still got it at her 50s, she still got it at her 60s, she still has it at her 70s. Okay, great. But what else? If all we have to offer, the only way that they're presenting older women is they still have it at 70 or 60 or whatever, like, I think that's a warped society, because women in their 20s and women in their 70s are not on the same level. They should not be in the same level, right? There is a distinction in life. There's a difference in what they have, the value, what they have to offer, their station. But I think this society, media in particular, does a great disservice on how it's like the only way they present women, no matter what their age is what they can bring to the table physically. And quite frankly, there is no comparison between a 20-year-old and a 50, 60, 7-year-old. There's not a comparison. And there does not need to be a comparison. It's like, I don't want to see a 7-year-old woman put on the same level as a 20-year-old, because they're not. Other cultures understand this. Like, this is what I appreciate about when I travel, especially when I'm in more traditional cultures. You think of like African cultures, for example. I think this is the same in Asian culture. Like they just have like this innate sense about elders. And there's a certain way you're going to present elders. There's a certain way you're going to talk to elders. There's a certain way you're going to honor elders that is just innate. You're not going to nitpick the body. You're not going to nitpick the way a 70 or 60-year-old or 80-year-old woman looks. That's just because you understand that she is bringing something else that is intangible, but she has a higher station. So you would never even dare to do something so disrespectful. Other cultures understand the importance of elders. America has no concept of this. They have completely lost their mind. And this is why we can have, in my opinion, somebody who is like an elder be positioned in society um, as somebody who just like hit high school. And they're trying to put him on the same level. And I'm like, they're not on the same level. They're really not. And again, I'm not saying that you can't feel good about your body. You can. But I think there's a way that we can get that message across while making it clear that the value that a woman brings, especially as she ages, has less to do with her body and has more to do with what she brings in the table entirely. The essence of who she is and how she impacts those around her. The way youth is idolized in this culture is just weird to me. It's just weird. Like, yeah, like there's benefits to being young and your body just naturally working in a particular way and you naturally looking a particular way. Like there's benefits to all of that. But the way the culture like leads with it, I think that is, again, that is a reflection of a broken society that has, in my opinion, completely screwed up values. I'm not saying like there is a place for youth, there is a place for young adults. I think there is a place in society. Like everybody has their place. But my point is, I don't like how in this society there is such this push to try to blend everything, right? They're trying to put everybody in a different age range on the same level. They're not. Trying to put everybody of different genders in the same level. They're not. Right? Like I said, a 7-year-old woman is not equal to a 20-year-old woman. They're not on the same level. All these people have equal value as far as humans. Like you have equal value whether you are a 7-year-old kid versus a 7-year-old man or whatever. Like you being a human, the essence of you being a human means that you have the same amount of value, but your function is different. The way a man functions is different than the way a woman functions. The way a mother or grandmother functions is different than the way a young girlfriend or a young wife functions. Different functions. So I do not like how in the society there is such this push to try to like minimize roles, minimize authority. We try to put everybody in the same level to the point to where now you have lost the value of distinction. You have lost the value of family. You have lost the value of roles, of family roles, even of gender roles. Like there's value in all those things when they are balanced. So that's what I do not like about these kinds of different things. I would encourage people to consider that the value that a person brings as they age, especially as women, is not their body. It's really not. Like I said, and it's okay to say that your body at 70 is likely not going to look as good as it did at 20. It's okay to say that. It's okay to admit that. Doesn't mean you can't still look beautiful. Doesn't mean you can't still keep things in order. But there's no comparison. However, what a woman brings to the table, especially as she ages, is invaluable, right? Like ideally, this woman is God-fearing and is healthy and has evolved. She has so much to offer to her society, to the people around her family, her kids, maybe her grandkids, that is invaluable. And there's this one passage in the Bible that I think really sums up what I've been trying to articulate about understanding how not everybody is on the same level. And as we age, we go into different functions, and that's beautiful and okay. It's Titus 2, and it says, "These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Then they will not bring shame on the word of God, and the same way encourage the young men to live wisely." And this is the important role that elders have. They have the responsibility of teaching us how to thrive, of maybe even warning us or guiding us away from mistakes that they had, passing on cultural values, passing on spiritual values. This is the role that elders have, being a guardian, giving wisdom and advice, and giving counsel to young people, to young couples. Like this is the role that elders have. And so when elders are no longer positioned like being elders, and when elders are placed in a competition with people half their age to try to look and act a certain way, that it's like they're stepping away, in my opinion, from their God-given role. Which is like, you don't need to compete to be a 20-year-old. You're 70, you're 60, or whatever. Like be that and be that graciously, because we need that. We don't need folks in their 80s trying to look 30. Okay, we don't need people in their 50s trying to look 18. Like we don't. Like we need people to be at peace and be confident and be in the role that they're at. So, like, in my opinion, if we had more people doing that, like elders actually being elders, young people being young people, middle-aged folks being middle-aged folks, like the people I felt like were just really content in their station, and we could recognize that there's value in every stage, then I think there would actually be more cohesiveness in the family structure. A 7-year-old is not like a 20-year-old. They're not the same thing. They're not in the same station. They're not in the same level. There is going to be an inherent wisdom that a God-fearing 67-year-old will bring to the table that is so much more valuable than how they look. Then I think the more grace women can have for even aging, the natural aging process, because not everybody's going to be able to look good or still look nice in a bikini at 70. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. And that's fine. It's not all about that. Anyways, y'all, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree to disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.